Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Elevating Your Life. Paula Vail here, and another fun day for us today. I am interviewing for the second time. I just fell in love with her the first time, and it's like we got to do it again down the road, and we are. I have with us today Laura Handke. She is Lake Oswego's transformational voice teacher. She works with speakers, actors, holistic coaches, writers, singers, and with a body, mind, spirit approach to vocal training. Joy and laughter are essential ingredients. I love it. I love it. And she is going to share some really fun stuff with you, and her latest projects are so fantastic. Well, first off, Laura, thank you. Thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me.
Gosh, I just love seeing you and hearing your voice again. Well, would you like to share a little more of your background with everyone and let them, how long you've done this great work that you do and helping people to find their and free their authentic voice?
Sure. It's been kind of a long and winding road, as the Beatles once said, actually. I've been a singer performer, my whole life. I was first on stage in the 5th grade and was very active in drama and theater and every single music group I could get my hands into, all through my growing up years. And then, you know how it is in our society, we're kind of taught that we need to go to college and get a degree and go get a job and become a contributing member of society that way. And the arts aren't really valued all that much in our society. I just got done having a conversation with my wish weaving mastermind group right before this meeting here. And we're all creative types. And we were talking about how challenging it can be to have a creative soul and things that you want to express in a capitalistic country, right? So I went down that traditional path for many, many years until I was introduced to Linda Bryce, the founder of Transformational Voice and my voice teacher, and just fell in love with the way that she helps people unleash and hone and express their authentic voices in the world in a very holistic, kind, and compassionate way. And so I fell in love with the whole model of transformational voice training. This is when I was in my 40s, and I was working as a workers' compensation claims professional handling work-related injuries. So it was a completely different world. But when she asked me to be one of the first 12 apprentices, when she launched the Institute, I really felt in my heart that that's what I wanted to do. So I went through the training and became certified as a transformational voice teacher in 2011, 2012. I quit my day job in 2014 and pretty much have just been teaching voice and doing a lot of writing and things that I really love to do since 2017. Yeah.
You are doing some fun stuff. So, Laura, for someone that has not heard the term transformational voice, what is that exactly?
Well, it's a number of things. And I think you could ask any one of us teachers who've gone through the transformational voice training, and many of us have master's degrees in vocal performance or music, theory or whatever, and I think we all might have a slightly different answer, but the general gist of it is a holistic approach to vocal training. So it's not you're the soloist, you've got the beautiful voice, you go be the star. You stand in the back and move your lips and pretend like you're singing because you can't carry a tune, so there's not that criticism. There's not putting certain people on a pedestal. It's everyone has an authentic, beautiful, authentic voice. And our job as teachers is to unpeel the layers of what's blocking it, of what's not working to allow that voice to come out. So it's very much about the individual, authentic vocal expression and how we can help each person voice themselves beautifully. And it's breath-based vocalization. So it's healthy, effective vocal technique.
So breath, would you say, is a very important part of your voice?
It's hugely important. And that is really, when it comes right down to it, that's the first thing that I have to teach every single student that comes to me, is because so many people are unaware of how breath is the sound, breath is the river that's carrying the sound of your voice, right? People don't think about this. You can't inhale and talk at the same time because you're exhaling, because your breath is carrying the sound of your voice. And so I call it one of the 4 pillars. There's these pillars that I have to instill in people. Breath is one, resonance, onsets. We're not going to have time, of course, to get into all of that. Pitch. So all of these things are instrumental in each individual voice being expressed freely, but it all starts with the breath. So I teach people how to breathe with a relaxed core and how to not stop that breath flow, which is really easy for people to do when they get nervous. And how many people get nervous public speaking?
Yes.
A lot of them.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, so that's a big key to tap into that breath and keep that breath flowing.
Yes. To let the breath do the work for you instead of thinking that all this efforting has to come from your throat, from your, your vocal instrument. Your vocal instrument is actually your whole entire body. It's not just from, here to here, from your neck to the top of your head. And people don't think about that. It's the whole body.
So it's the whole body.
Yeah, you can't effectively vocalize if you've got tension in your body. And most people get nervous when they speak or get up to sing, which causes tension. So see, a lot of it just goes back to the same pillars over and over and over again, but it manifests itself different in every single student. Every single student has different areas where they have tension, different traumas that they may have survived, different things that people have told them about their voices over the years that made them feel badly about the way they sound. It's huge. The way that the voice is impacted by everything else in our life is a very big deal.
Yeah. Myself, I've always accepted that I have a Minnie Mouse voice,
Soprano. That's your authentic voice. You're a high soprano.
Yeah, so I guess that's just my pitch, correct? And it's what we are.
Yeah, you're not, and it depends on so many different factors, like, the shape of your skull, the width and the size of your vocal folds, how much sinus cavity space you have up in your head. All of these things impact the sound of your voice. But for someone like you, and I wasn't necessarily planning to bring this up, but since you mentioned your own voice, I'm going to mention this because it's something that I encounter so often as a voice teacher. And that is that people think that they need to artificially lower their voice and talk lower to make themselves sound more authoritarian or something. But does this really sound good when I speak this way?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's because I'm falling into what is called vocal fry by trying to artificially lower my voice. And people shouldn't be doing that, but a lot of people do. And it's really hard on your throat.
That is good to know. I've just always accepted it and said, this is what I am.
Good for you.
And I'll never forget, when I was going to college, I worked for Coca-Cola. I was the receptionist. And it was like 20 years later, I'm at a high school reunion and I hear this voice. I know that voice anywhere. And it was my old boss.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. We're all unique, aren't we? And our authentic voice is really something unique and something to celebrate, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Gosh. So, Laura, what would you say to someone who does work in a public field and has to do some speaking or, interviewing or such, and they are a little nervous? Any little tools or sharings you could give to those out there that to kind of help them with that?
Yes, absolutely. And that's actually a huge part of what I work on, as you can imagine, because that's such a common thing where people are very uncomfortable speaking. It makes them nervous. And, whether you're singing or whether you're speaking, it's really not as different as you might think. The effective vocal technique is the same for speaking as it is for singing, as it is for anything that you're doing with your voice. And so part of it is just giving people these really simple tools, like how to get your ribs out. So they say nice and expanded, how to breathe with a relaxed core. And I get people down on the floor on a yoga mat so they can see what happens to their belly when they inhale and it goes up towards the ceiling. And then it's coming down as we're vocalizing and exhaling on the breath. And so we have to practice ribs out, belly relaxed, let the breath do the work for you. Don't squeeze here. Don't clench in your throat, blah, 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 blah. And we do it over and over and over again because repetition gets it into muscle memory. So you don't have to think about it anymore. So that is number one, is you just have to be consistent and persistent enough about the technique to practice at least twice a day, every day, whatever exercises I give, any student, depending on what their issues are, and to do it so repetitively that your body knows what to do and you don't have to think about it. That calms a lot of that nervousness right there. But the other part of it, Paula, and this is the part that can be a little bit trickier, but it's also something that I seem to be really settling into myself just since you and I have talked last. I mean, I would really say just in the last 6 months or so, I have started getting over my own fear, which I have, of singing solo in front of people in public. So I can teach all day long. I can sing in groups. I can sing in small groups, big groups. I'm in a holiday choir right now with the Northwest Senior Theater Group. We're having a ball preparing for this holiday show. But still, getting up and singing all by myself has always made me really scared. And the breathing is not just about that breath carrying the sound of your voice. That breath is what can change your brainwave pattern. Now, I don't remember how much we talked about this before, but well, you're probably a meditator, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah, so am I. I didn't today, but usually I try and meditate for at least 12 minutes in the morning. And so we're walking around in our daily lives. You and I are having this conversation right now. You might be writing something for a book or a blog post or whatever it is we're doing. I'm teaching, you're interviewing, whatever. And we're in this normal brainwave state that we walk around in, right? Which is beta, I believe. Yeah. So this is our beta brainwave state. But if you sit down and meditate for a few minutes and take some nice, slow, deep breaths, like I'm doing it right now, and this calm settles over you. I call it being in the zone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, if you can breathe properly enough regularly before you have to get up and speak, you're running through your body, you're finding out where there's tension, you're intentionally eliminating that tension, you're breathing deeply, you're putting yourself in this nice, calm alpha brainwave state.
Yeah.
You get up and you speak and you perform when you're in that state, you're in the zone. And,
wow,
and that anxiety goes away, but you got to train yourself to be able to do it. And I think I'm just now, after all these years of being a teacher, I'm starting to get that.
I love it. I love it.
And then there's this little thing, you can take beta blockers. There's medication for this too. And that's something I'm actually considering trying before my next performance, because I've been given a solo in this show. And this is something I talked to my teacher about, and she said it's kind of like, you can take the beta blocker a time or two, you get up and you perform, you get through it, you're just fine. All of a sudden you realize you don't need them anymore, and you just get up and sing. So that's a little, that's something that I'm considering trying as well. But really, the breath, physically and mentally, emotionally, that's your key.
Yeah. And something I've noticed, and maybe others do this also, I've interviewed people over 7 years now. I'm not nervous. I just love it, have fun. I've been interviewed multiple times over the years, but I was just recently interviewed by a woman with a podcast in UK, and I watch. And when I'm answering questions, I kind of look around. Is that a sign of nervousness?
There is a whole theory on that. It's so interesting you brought that up. And I don't know that neurolinguistics is the word I'm looking for. I've got a book. It's sitting in my nightstand in my bedroom.
But it's
all about kind of like NLP, neuro linguistic programming. And, there's these different studies that all kind of focus on the same thing. But what it really is, it's about how people learn and how people communicate. So there's this certain learning type that, and see how I'm kind of looking up right now?
Yeah.
When I have to think about something, my eyes tend to want to go,
So it's our thinking.
and everybody has a certain way that they
Okay.
process information, that their brain processes information. And so when you see some of this activity going on, it's because that's your learning style, that's your communication style. That's how you're processing the information that your brain is trying to take in before your mouth opens up and you talk about it.
It's so fascinating. I just think it's so fascinating.
There's so much to learn.
Yeah, I
read book after book after book and take class after class with different teacher and never learn everything there is to learn about how people express themselves and how their authentic voice best comes out. I mean, just little things like that. It's all over the map. It's crazy.
It's just, I bet it's just fascinating, all that you've learned and what you've shared in teaching others and counseling. I just can only imagine how fascinating and how fun and inspiring that's been, Laura.
Yeah, it never ends. The learning never, ever stops. I mean, my teacher has been doing this for over 40 years now. That's a long time to be a voice teacher.
Yes.
And, she lives in the Netherlands now. She moved there with her husband, who is a Dutch citizen. So, yeah, that's been quite a journey for her. So it's a little bit more difficult.
I'm heading there in a few days.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I'll have to you up with my teacher.
And I actually yesterday interviewed an amazing author who's in the US right now, but he's from the Netherlands and he flies back in a few days. So me and my girlfriend are going to meet him for coffee. Oh, that is so fun.
Oh, wow. That's well, I don't believe in coincidence, but that's odd.
Isn't that hilarious? Oh my gosh. Oh,
but no, she's learned things just in the last, 6 months that she didn't know 30 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago. It just never stops. It's a huge subject.
And our authentic voice, to bring that out and let that shine, that really is, boy, that's amazing, and that's got to feel good.
It's so rewarding. And really what consistently I see happen with my students, because a lot of them do come. I mean, I do have people that come to me as singers, but a lot of them come to me just because they want to learn how to speak better. And then once the technique starts to get into muscle memory and they're feeling more comfortable and their voice is coming out, then we start to sing. And there's so many people out there who think they can't sing, and it's simply not true. It's just that nobody has ever taught them about the breath, about the resonance, about these tools. And what a joy that is to see people who never thought they could sing start to sing and start having fun singing.
Oh, I can imagine. Now, do you teach through video, or share with everyone? Like if someone's listening and they want to sign up and get some coaching from you, how do they contact you, and kind of how does that work?
Well, the very best way is just to go to my website. It's laurahandke.com, HANDKE.com, and sign up for a free consultation. I offer everybody a free half-hour consultation so we can kind of get to know each other. I can give lots of free value for people to start getting rolling, with their technique. That's the best way to do it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Tell us about your upcoming show. I want to hear about that.
Okay. Well, like I said, it was just a very casual audition. I saw this ad in one of the Portland theater listings at the Northwest Senior Theater. So I'm over 55 now. Oh my, I could be in a senior show.
I'm there with you. Yeah.
Oh, it's just been so much fun sitting down with a choir again and learning how to sing music together. And a lot of different people are having solos, and there's little skits. There's a lot of humor. There's some really tremendous operatic singers who are just out of this world. So it's a combination of a lot of different things. Probably won't be more than an hour and a half long show, if even that. Yeah, I've got 3 performances coming up in November, so that'll be fun.
That is so exciting. How fun. And I do want you to mention, because I absolutely fell in love with it, your catnap blues. Tell everyone about that. Oh, I fell in love with it.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that because yeah, that is just a complete lark. That was not something I set out to do, but it feels like my husband would say that's a God shot. That's a God shot. It's like that's something I did not set out to do, but it all kind of started one day. I have this black cat named Lynn, Linn. We adopted from a rescue shelter a couple of years ago, and she likes to get up on the kitchen counters, and we just kind of said we're just going to stop trying to take her off the kitchen counter. She's not hurting anything as long as she doesn't go on the stove. So she's sitting there on the counter, and this lyric and melodies came to me, and it was cat sitting on the counter and she's singing the blues because someone came along and interrupted her snooze. And so I finished the first verse and I came up with a chorus. She got the catnap blues. I can't sing it without laughing. This is going to be a problem to the recording studio. I sang it to my husband and he chuckled. He thought it was funny. So I wrote another verse and he laughed at that one. So I wrote another verse. And before I knew it, I'd written this little song. And I happened to be having my car serviced right after I finished the song, and got this great automotive shop over in downtown Lake Oswego. It's called Erickson's Automotive. It's hard to find an auto mechanic you can trust. And I trust these guys implicitly. So I was telling Bill Erickson, who happens to be in a band called 10 O'Clock Hill, about this little song I'd wrote. And we decided his band should work with me on the song. So we got together and started rehearsing the song. Somebody else I know, a singer with the Boston Imposters, I'm good friends with his wife, who is a fellow transformational voice teacher. Her husband, Davey, put the chords together for me and told me what key it was in. I brought it to the band. We started rehearsing. Well, it turns out that they know this producer guy who lives, oh gosh, I want to say somewhere in Arizona or Texas, or I can't even remember where it is, but he's worked with some pretty big names in the industry. And it just so happens he's going to be here in Oregon like next weekend. And we're going to record it and make a music video out of Catnap Blues.
Oh, I love it.
It's hilarious, but it's so much fun. And it just feels like, I've been a musician my whole life. Why not? Why shouldn't I record a music video?
Yes.
Go through all the steps I need to take to, have it registered and copyrighted and all that stuff. And so it's definitely been a learning curve, but it's also a lot of fun.
How adorable. How adorable. I love it. I love it. And something that you've said that I just love, Laura. Your authentic voice isn't the same as anyone else's. It belongs to you and you alone. That just really says it all, doesn't it? That is so true.
It's no different than the irises of your eyes or your fingerprints of your hands. We've only got one authentic voice. Don't squelch it. Don't hide it away. Let it ring out. That's what you're here for.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes. Yes. Oh, man. Well, we have just a few minutes left in the show. Laura, what last words do you want to share with everyone today? This is so fantastic.
I want to say that, and this is just for people to think about and take with it what you will, but one of the things that has really surprised me about becoming a voice teacher and starting to work with people with their outer voices is how much the inner and the outer voice are so deeply entwined. And what I mean by that is if you've got something inside yourself that really wants to be expressed, that really wants to come out into the world, that really wants to be said or sung, and I don't care what it is, maybe it's a story, maybe it's a painting, maybe it's a quilt, maybe, I don't know, whatever it is, but don't let the way that our society is structured or what people tell you you should or should not be doing or can or cannot do, what's realistic, what's not realistic, that whole voice that we hear, ignore it. Listen to your own. Whatever is yours to express in the world, it's there for a reason and the world needs it. So let it come out.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That is beautiful. Express ourselves and just celebrate our unique voice, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yay, Minnie Mouse, that's me. Whatever it is, let's celebrate it and love it. Oh, gosh. It's so wonderful, all the people that you're doing so much for and helping them. And I would love you to share your website one more time with the audience, or anyone that wants to get more information or reach out to you for that free consultation, because that's just
Absolutely.
a
Laura
great gift what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, Laura Handke, LauraHandke.com. Complimentary 30-minute consultation, and it's fun. We have a lot of fun.
Now, with the Catnap Blues, will people be able to go on your website and see that eventually?
I imagine eventually it will be on my YouTube channel. It will probably be somewhere on my website, but I honestly don't have all those details together yet.
Mhm.
Yeah, we need to have it mixed and mastered, and then I need to talk to the people at CD Baby and all of. So I got a few steps to take before I'm 100% ready to answer that question.
Okay. I just want to say, everybody, you're going to love it. It's adorable. I fell in love with it. Oh, Laura, I'm just so happy to chat with you today. And this really, it's a topic we don't think a lot about, but really it's a huge, amazing topic. It really is a fascinating, wonderful topic.
Yeah.
And to know that we can learn and focus and, build our authentic voice, that really is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just love it. Oh, gosh. Well, everyone out there, thank you for joining us. So happy to have had you with us today. Laura, so happy to have you, my little Pacific Northwest neighbor. I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show. Love, hugs, and blessings.
I just always love seeing you.
Thank you. Love, hugs, and blessings, everyone. Thank you so much.